What's up, guys? I'm John.
My name is Chris.
And we are the Heck, and today we're checking out another Overlord lore video, but this one is freaking Pandora's Actor,
Pandora's Actor.
We've been talking about this one for a while. Like, honestly, he's definitely a card that's wild, and I don't really know a whole lot about him.
Yeah,
you know?
he's very mysterious. Like, he was only in the show for very small scenes, but all of the scenes that he was in, I always really liked.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know more about him.
And I'm kind of curious, like, how much was skipped over. I know the actual light novels have a lot more to do with him than the actual anime did, so very curious. But either way, if you're new to our channel, smash that sub button. If you guys would like to support our channel, and also check out, we just dropped our first Overlord movie reaction. If y'all would like to check that out, there's a link to our Patreon in the description below, and a limited time freaking discount code that's actually along with that as well too. So if y'all are going to be new to our Patreon, there's going to be a discount code that you guys can use for next month. But here we freaking go. A boom! And hitting that play button, boom! Good God.
Dude, I love it. Pandora's Actor. Yes.
Good Lord.
I love the yellow coat. I think that's
he does
the
look
biggest.
cool. He looks like an aviator pilot.
Yeah.
That is pretty
okay
wild.
Then, you guys asked for it, so here it is.
They most definitely
Who
did.
is Pandora's Actor? Who would have thought that a Nazi-based character with a bowling ball for a head would be the most popular out of all the Nazarick NPCs?
Wow.
Let's see
Bowling
what all the
ball
hype is
for a
about.
head.
As per usual, we'll start with his creation and backstory. Then next episode, we'll get more into his build and abilities. A quick side note though, I'm very excited to share that we've launched a brand new design in the Overlord AniNews apparel.
Listen,
The new Albedo, Succubus.
we have found out that apparently that one at the moment has been sold out for a while now, and we can't buy that one, so we're skipping through this. But just let it be known, we support AniNews, and if he does come out with a new shirt, we're going to buy them.
Yeah, we tried looking for it.
But if he comes out with a new one, please let us know, and we'll definitely be buying one. You know. But either way, Succubus was awesome, and it's Exodus limited run.
The most logical place to start would be with Ainz's personal life, back when he was just the player known as Momonga. After all, Pandora's Actor was created by Suzuki Satoru. This salaryman had spent most of his life as a loner.
That was his name?
He didn't really have any friends in school, and that didn't change much when he joined the workforce either. He was quiet,
one scene
shy,
was worth
and
that whole
not
movie, dude.
particularly opinionated or assertive. So nobody really went out of their way to interact with him in return.
He's very stoic,
though. You could say that he languished in isolation. It's a fairly par-for-the-course description of your typical isekai protagonist.
I mean,
but this isolated lifestyle would eventually change as he played
elder
Nature Slime.
slime.
Starting from his first encounter with Touch Me when the man rescued him from a large group of PKers that were hunting heteromorphs. You could say he was Momonga's literal knight in shining armor.
He was.
So Touch Me being one of the first people to
And his name
willfully
Touch Me is
interact with
hilarious.
Momonga
Right.
birthed the formation of a strong bond between the two.
Bromance.
He had a fairly honest, benevolent, and welcoming nature that would pretty much make friends with anyone, whereas Momonga was just desperate for someone to relate with. After this, I guess, fateful encounter, they would soon meet and interact with many other heteromorphic players, and they would go on to establish a guild called Nine's Own Goal under Touch Me's leadership. Through this, Ainz would discover what it was like to have a group of close friends for the first time.
I was getting destroyed by
Each
shopping
member
carts.
had their own perspectives,
Pretty
ideas,
much,
and opinions,
pretty much.
and they had no problem sharing them. Momonga, not having a strong opinion of his own, didn't really have a passion to speak of.
That's something I really never have thought about, but Lord Touch Me led this? The heteromorphic freaking guild that they had here?
Oh, really?
I think that's what it pretty much just said. And then, like, I don't know, but I've always thought that Ainz would have done that because he's, like, just freaking badass. But maybe Touch Me did for a while.
I thought that I remembered them saying that Lord Ainz was the guild leader.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not 100% sure on that one either. But it did just say that Touch Me kind of led their brigade for a while. So,
And he wasn't confident enough in his own ideas.
Maybe it was
Thus,
just
he absorbed the
something.
passions and ideas of others like a sponge. Because of this lack of social skills, he became content with just watching from the sidelines as everyone else interacted. But that's not to say that they ignored him. No, he became a trusted member of the guild, and a close friend to basically everyone. Perhaps it was his quiet nature that molded him into a good listener that made guild members come to him with their own frustrations and personal problems.
it makes sense, dude.
Regardless of the reason though, he found himself in a position where he was trusted to hear out disagreements and serve as this neutral mediator. One such disagreements between Touch Me and Ulbert resulted in the guild being reformed to Eins Ul Gon, with Momonga as the leader, mostly due to the mutual respect that each of the founding members had for him. This led the guild into its golden era, where at its peak, they had 41 dedicated members that helped to maintain the guild's place in the top 10 rankings of Yggdrasil, and they would create what was reportedly known as the unconquerable guild base of Nazarick.
I was in one of the top guilds.
Momonga being the leader was the glue that held all this together. However, it was at some point that real-life obligations prevented the guild members from spending as much time with the guild as they used to. Real life took over, and members began to drift away from their hardcore gaming lifestyles and became more casual players so that they could focus on the important things in their life, like their families or moving up the corporate ladder.
You know, perhaps if they would have put that stuff on the back burner, they would have gotten sucked in the game too.
Dude, right?
Y'all don't even know what you're missing.
In the process. Momonga had expected this, but he still couldn't accept the pain in his heart of losing his dear friends.
God, showing him disappear like that?
One day at least someone would return. But when the membership finally dwindled to nothing, he was despondent. He decided to go into full carry mode and grind as much gold and loot as possible just to try to keep the guild's finances afloat. Maintenance costs for a top 10 guild was certainly not a cheap endeavor. Also, out of nostalgia, he created golems with the appearance of guildmates to guard the treasures, each adorned with the gear of the members that they were likened to. It was this fondness of
damn, that's awesome he did that.
Would later become basically his only motivation in the New World. He protects and adores the NPCs because they remind him of his guildmates. He asks for the benefits of Nazarick because it was created by his guildmates. He
for real though,
love of the game. Tries to use his guildmates' names against him. And it was this appreciation for his friends that motivated him to create his first and only NPC, the Guardian of the Treasury, Pandora's Actor. Let's talk a bit of history now.
Oh damn.
Pandora was the first woman to ever be created. The TLDR is that the Titan Prometheus had just stolen fire from Mount Olympus and gave it to humanity. Zeus decided to punish humanity by giving them their first woman, Pandora. She was presented as a gift to Epimetheus.
Oh God, we've been punished!
Who, even though was warned not to take any gifts from the gods, still took her anyway and married her.
Can I just go back? Hold up. You're like, these two bros just broing out. Look how like stoked they are about life right now. And they got a squirrel on their shoulder, and you know what I mean?
I just noticed the squirrel.
They're like fashionable as hell, and you can tell they're just having a good old time, dude. And then Zeus is like, you know what? I'm gonna f up this thing. I'm about to put a freaking female in here. We're about to have a love triangle, dude. Who's she gonna fall for? I mean, like looks wise, they're pretty equal, dude. They look like the same. I mean, the squirrel is on that one guy's shoulder, but the other dude's got the flame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, he's got the sword out, so
he does, dude. So I'm just saying, man, like, who's she even gonna go for? And also, sidebar question.
That's why.
Did we all have wieners back then? You know what I mean? Do we need them?
I mean, it looks like they kind of do because they have like
a cod piece?
Yeah, cod piece. Yeah, they got the cod piece.
So, you know what I mean?
You can't have a cod piece without a cod.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have the freaking proper equipment to go in the piece. But, I don't know. Anyways, man, I had no idea that was the origin stories of women. So
really, I didn't either.
I had no clue. But now I'm...
take any gifts from the gods.
Look how happy they are.
Took her anyway and married her. She carried with her a jar or a
box,
which was also a gift from the gods, but she was unaware of its contents. Then when curiosity got the best of her, instead of killing the cat, it just unleashed every known evil upon mankind.
Oh shit.
Yep.
How is that what's in the box?
And then also, how can you have a box like that, like give it to somebody and then not tell them, hey, if you open this, it's gonna unleash every sin known to man or whatever. You know what I mean?
Would you still open it if you knew?
I think if I knew, probably not. But if I had no idea, then hell yeah, I'm opening that box. Like the minute I'm alone, I'm looking in it. I'd be like, what's in
carrying
there?
all the evils to ever exist.
I'm
the only one that finds it a little bit funny that this story basically names woman as the harbinger of all things evil. But setting the low-key misogyny of the ancient Greeks aside,
that's why
Pandora's story is important because of the meaning that the phrase Pandora's Box took on as a result of this myth. Later literary and artistic treatments of the mythology focused less on the woman herself and more on the nature of the evil that was unleashed.
Yeah, that's why
in some
we
cases,
didn't know the rest
of
of
the
it.
box
Probably
was said to even be a man who was too curious for his own good. Nowadays, a Pandora's Box is a gift that at first appears to be valuable, but is quickly revealed to be a disaster or curse. And to open up a Pandora's Box is to unleash something chaotic, unpredictable, and usually disastrous. That said, The evil inside the Pandora's Box is sometimes downplayed, and the emphasis is on the fact that many different, unique things burst forth. The contents of Pandora's Box could be the embodiment of diversity, chaos, and change, which, while often harmful, can still have an unexpectedly benign or positive outcome as well. It's not that change and diversity are necessarily bad, it's that they are unpredictable and therefore risky.
Like her.
Pandora's Actor is a reflection of this motif. Much like how Pandora's Box is a container of wildly diverse, unpredictable, and oftentimes downright evil things, Pandora's Actor is someone who acts as or imitates a diverse array of evil creatures. It's a very creative use of the Pandora name to really nail everything that this NPC embodies. He's a part of the Doppelgänger race, and AniNews created him specifically so that he could transform into and imitate the capabilities and appearance of every single one of the guild members.
Oh, that's cool.
But since the guild members liked the idea of role-playing as evil villains in the form of these very terrifying creatures, the guild itself could then be seen as a Pandora's Box in its own right. Or at least that's what they'd like to be. Pandora's Actor can then be seen as both this metaphorical and physical love letter to the guild and its members, an expression of the appreciation that AniNews had for all the time that he spent together with them.
That's awesome.
Of course, the other NPCs are extremely jealous of Pandora's Actor, since he is the only creation of their supreme ruler. As for his design,
I never thought of that.
actually didn't really have anything cohesive in mind. Whether the final result was intentional or accidental is a bit of a mystery. You see, AniNews is a very impulsive, lateral thinker, meaning his mind likes to jump from one topic to the other in rapid succession, and he can sometimes confuse himself in the process. Pandora's personality was constructed
I feel that.
a collection of a random assortment of ideas based on how AniNews was feeling at the time. His intentions weren't really for the creation of some meticulously planned and masterfully crafted NPC. Of course, the underlying theme for Pandora's Actor does relate very strongly to the Greek myth that the name derives from, so it is very possible that there was always this constant underthought. Unfortunately though, the random ideas that AniNews had while making Pandora ended up coming back to bite him, as he found his creation quite embarrassing and ridiculous when he met him for the first time. It's because, just like Tabula, AniNews also went through a bit of a Chunibu phase earlier in his life. Chunibu, or 8th grader syndrome, is a phase that frequently strikes kids approximately in the 8th grade, where they become obsessed with certain imagery and behavior that they consider cool. The obsession becomes so strong that they often feel the desire to emulate or pretend that they themselves are a part of what they're obsessing over. It could be thinking that you have hidden powers, dressing like you're from your favorite show, or even acting all edgy because you think that you have an over-the-top tragic backstory like Sasuke. It is, however, still just a phase, and it ends almost as soon as
Is it a phase?
The person
it's not just a phase, Mom!
Feelings of embarrassment. So, what exactly was it that AniNews obsessed over during this short-lived phase? Well, if you're an SJW, then prepare to be triggered because, in a word, it was Nazis.
Oh God!
Before you go get your pitchforks and say, boycott Overlord because AniNews is a Nazi, let's just calm down for a second and let me try to explain this.
Okay.
Alright, so
that's why it's a longer video.
A history buff, but there's a bit of a thing that Japan has for Germany and Nazi imagery. And if we're pointing this out, I might as well point out that other Asian countries such as Taiwan, South Korea, and Indonesia do this as well. But don't go pointing your pitchforks at these countries yet either. To be fair, it's partly due to the fact that their education on World War II mostly focused on their relevance and impact that it had on the East, instead of the Holocaust or Nazi Germany in general.
Okay.
At least that's the way it was until you reached university. That's a very long time to go without being explicitly told about certain key historical events.
Highly curious though, because he did lump in like South Korea into that, and if we have any people from South Korea, could you verify that? Because honestly, I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate or not. Because like South Korea was kind of like our home dogs. You know what I mean? I don't know if that was in World War II though. So maybe I need to find that out. Should probably figure that one out first. I don't know. Anyways, if anybody does know, please let me know because I'm curious about that too. I definitely see where like Japan and stuff, but then I don't know. South Korea,
allow me to give you a quick refresher. Japan and Germany were allies during World War II.
Yes.
At the end of the war, while North America and Europe were dealing with the fallout of the Nazi death camps and then the rising tide of communism to the east, Japan was dealing with both the literal and metaphorical fallout of being hit by 2 nuclear bombs.
Yes.
Not only were they isolated from the atrocities committed by their allies, they were also undergoing cultural turmoil as a result of the massive loss of life. 3 things happened culturally as a result of this. First, they went from extremely imperialistic and nationalistic to extremely pacifistic and somewhat libertarian and capitalistic. Second, they began to imitate the culture of the nation that beat them so heavily in the war. In this case, it was America. Thirdly, they retained a low-key sense of wonderment and appreciation for their allies, Germany, who single-handedly almost conquered all of Europe and was only brought down by a three-way alliance between the world's #1 powers at the time.
That makes sense.
Of course, different people and groups in Japan reacted in different ways.
Is that where we got
I'm not saying that these three things were
from?
dominant trends that took over all of Japan, nor were they the only things that happened as a result of the war. I'm just saying that these three things that did emerge are relevant to this explanation.
I had no idea.
So what I'm trying to say is that whereas the rest of the planet mostly remembers Nazi Germany for their World War II atrocities, Japan retains this impression of Germany, and America too, as these straight up badasses. And there's remnants of this fascination all throughout the anime culture.
Okay.
Like, why is the title to Girls on Panzer half English and half German? Why use the German word for tank instead of the Japanese word? Or why are there so many blonde-haired, blue-eyed foreign girls in anime? These are things that are different from ordinary Japanese culture, and things that are different are sometimes seen as exotic and cool, especially given how stiflingly secular Japanese traditionalism can be to many young people. But there are also even more on-the-nose examples. Now, in this next one, I'm not saying that Lelouch is Hitler. He's my favorite character in any show. But Lelouch's rise to power in Code Geass could be seen as an analogy to Hitler's. Yeah, their motivations and actions were different, but the underlying methods of how they rose to the spot of tyrannical dictator could be seen as similar. Then, for the blatantly obvious example, some people in Asia openly cosplay as Nazis. Though in Japan, it's a bit less common since adults start to understand that it's culturally unacceptable. So yes, Pandora's actor's mannerisms are styled after a Nazi general, replete with a World War II era German SS officer trench coat. He even speaks a lot of German too, and tends to frequently be over the top and exaggerated with his behaviors. Heinz had thought that at the time, military uniforms were quite stylish and cool looking. He even decided that because Pandora's actor was supposed to be an actor, it would make sense for him to be very over the top and dramatic in his mannerisms. Unfortunately, Heinz could have never anticipated the fact that the random ideas that popped into his head about Pandora's actor's personality and appearance would ever come back to haunt him. As I'm sure you're well aware of now, the current Heinz finds Pandora's actor to be terribly embarrassing, and is very self-conscious of the fact that his guildmates might mock him for his creation. However, what you may not know is that his outward appearance, as ridiculous as it may be, is really just a sham. After all, he is an actor. His intelligence is said to rival that of Albedo and Demiurge. And although it's never specified precisely how his talents relate to theirs, he's said to have a very strange thought process. Just like Heinz, he's a lateral thinker who can see things from a variety of unusual perspectives, and thus he's quite good at picking up on things others fail to notice. But he often puts on a show of being dramatically surprised about things or being extremely passionate, not because he actually is, but it's because he was written to over-exaggerate everything that he does. He is also one of the only NPCs who openly questions Heinz's orders. It's not because he's disloyal.
That's cool.
In fact, of all the NPCs in Nazarick, he's probably the most loyal to Heinz, since most NPCs will choose to follow the orders of their creator over that of the remaining Supreme.
That makes sense.
He questions Heinz's orders in order to understand what he's thinking and why he does things, so that he himself can carry out the orders better. As such, his relationship with Heinz is very relaxed, cordial, and impersonal.
Yeah,
and he takes liberties that other guardians wouldn't dare to. The respect and adoration towards a supreme being is still there, but Heinz finds it tough to maintain his commanding overlord persona when with Pandora's actor. Heinz frequently uses the analogy that the NPCs are the children of their creators, and it's not just illustrative either. That's actually how he views them. They each have various personality quirks that are reminiscent of the guild members that he once spent so much time with. When Pandora hears this, he takes to this label wholeheartedly and starts calling Heinz father. It's often theorized that Pandora's actor is the only person in Nazarick who really understands Heinz. He seems to be somewhat aware of the fact that Heinz finds the expectations that are placed upon him by the rest of the servants to be stifling and stressful, and so perhaps he chooses to take a more relaxed approach because of this. Pandora's actor, just like all the other NPCs, take after their creators in many ways that aren't specified in their lore or backstory. So perhaps deep down inside, beneath the mask and his acting, Pandora's actor feels the same way that Heinz does. A lonely soul that's desperate for a friend to truly connect with.
No.
And just maybe this is the reason why he's able to understand Ainz the best, and why he can be so informal in his presence.
I like that.
Normally, I'd put his responsibilities as an area guardian in the next video, but his role in Nazarick plays a lot into his lore, so let's talk a bit about it now.
Oh, nice.
As I said in the beginning of the video, Pandora's actor is the area guardian of the treasury, the place where all the guild members' equipment are
Does this Scrooge McDuck that? I would all the time, dude.
Glory and accomplishments. Area guardians are not to be confused with floor guardians. Just as the name implies, floor guardians are in charge of an entire floor, whereas area guardians are given dominion over a specific area within a floor. Normally, area guardians are the lesser powerful of the two, but that's not always the case, as there are plenty other NPCs within Nazarick that can go toe-to-toe with floor guardians given the right circumstances. Alongside his role as an area guardian, Pandora's actor was also written to be the treasurer with a mindset of being absolutely obsessed with cataloging and categorizing all of the magical items within it.
That's freaking awesome.
He also just loves handling magical items in general, looking at them.
Where are they getting these from? Where are they getting these animations, dude?
You know, that sort of thing. I mean, it only makes sense that someone who spends all day sitting around in the treasury should be doing so because they actually enjoy it. From this, Pandora's actor knows everything about every item
like
in the
Pleiades
treasury,
or something like that? What is this from?
How best to use them, what they are worth, and so on. He's also generally responsible for any sequence involving finances of the treasury. Presumably, he works alongside Albedo to ensure that Nazarick's finances and expenses are kept in good standing. But his more regular duties entailed preparing the money necessary for operating and controlling Nazarick's defense networks. However, after arriving in the New World, out of the fear that Nazarick's finite supply of gold would be exhausted, Ainz had ordered the bulk of the defense network to be shut down, so he generally doesn't have that much to do. Given Ainz's efforts to make Pandora's actor capable of imitating the appearance and capabilities of every one of the guild members, he could very much reliably fill the shoes of almost any guardian, and would make an excellent and versatile servant. But because of Ainz's embarrassment, he remains locked in the treasury. Fortunately, since no guardian had permission to enter or would dare to do so behind Ainz's back, and almost no other guardian knew of his existence, Ainz could just pretend that he didn't exist for a while.
Oh god.
But eventually, once word of Pandora's actor spread to Demiurge and the other guardians, they began to recommend that Ainz make more use of his abilities.
That is so funny.
Which we'll get more into in the next episode.
Damn!
But yeah, that's the backstory of Pandora's actor.
He really opened up a lot of worms with this one, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of very, it's a sad story in a way.
Decided to focus on Ainz's reasoning behind his creation.
I like that a lot.
Anyway,
he just wants to love.
I know. Look at all the stuff that he had for it. God, man. Oh!
Or just click the link in the description.
That was a Teespring one? Alright, listen. We did this last time, okay? But I'm doing it again really quick. I'm clicking on this button. Do they have an actual... No, see, this is what we were talking about, okay? This is what we're looking at. They do officially still have a desk mat, which looks cool as hell, and a Succubase sticker. So if you guys do want to support their channel, please go check that out. But last time I was like, oh man, we're going to buy a shirt. I'm going to get a shirt, support them. We'll wear it on the next time we react to them. Nah, dude.
They're out.
They're out. Yeah. And they said sold out last time I checked, but then now it's not even on there. So,
oh, wow.
Not even a shirt on there. So either way, homies, that was freaking wild. I had no idea. I never knew this thing. I guess I never really thought about it, but like kind of how we in America were taught a lot of things with the war and stuff like that. And I've never thought about how other countries were taught those things. Like what they learned in history class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very wild to think of.
Yeah.
So I mean, over here it was just like, basically the only thing we knew about Nazis were Nazis equal bad. Like that's
pretty much
essentially the gist.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was pretty wild. Really cool, informative episode that we just watched there. So thank you guys for checking that one out with us. And also, if y'all want to, we just posted a movie on our Patreon as well of the Undead King. We're about to be watching the next one. So the second movie of Overlord. It was really cool to kind of go back through and like do a review of the first whole season. I mean, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, it was very fun.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of nostalgia. And it was like seeing old friends again.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for real.
Get to see these characters or whatever.
God. So I'm really genuinely stoked to be checking out the next movie as well too. But if you guys do want to check that out, there's a link to our Patreon in the description below. And we'll catch y'all in, homies. Freaking toodles.
Later.
Oh, bye.